How did this escalate so fast over the last 24 hours?
Shots fired, Braith. This is as messy as you'll see. It's hilarious. It's like rival mob bosses trying to negotiate a ceasefire, and the level of distrust is really off the axis. The Roosters are adamant it didn't come out of them. Souths are adamant it hasn't come out of their camp either. There's claim and counterclaim. When you strip it all back...
Who opened up the filing case first? You tell me.
When you strip it all back, what it's really about is money. So Souths have offered the Roosters about $160,000 to take Brandon Smith off their hands effective immediately. The Roosters are saying no, they're not going to do that. It's got to be 200.
What I love about this is like the Roosters want 200. Souths are offering 160. We're talking 40 grand, and this petty little, like, because they hate each other so much, over $40,000 over a key player in our game of the NRL, we can't get to an agreement. Like,
no, well, it just shows you the level.
The middle guys.
It says a lot about the level of distrust and hatred that's existed between these two clubs dating back to 1908. And you're talking about, you know, some of the most powerful and influential figures in the game who are involved in this. I feel a little bit for Brandon because it seems like he might have been blindsided a little bit. Certainly out of the Bunnies today, it was being pushed that Brandon had been told by the Roosters that he was going to be playing reserve grade for the rest of the season in New South Wales Cup.
There are conflicting reports
have
over that
fiercely denied that and said absolutely it's not the case. Honestly,
I just want to get to the bottom of this. I want to get to the bottom of it. Is it... Who started this?
Come on.
Is it the Roosters?
Mate, you're a Southpaw, you're a Roosters.
Or was it the Bunnies?
Do you know?
Who started this? Is it,
but the other thing is that Souths aren't in a mad rush because he can't play for another 6 weeks. So every week that goes on, the Roosters are still paying his salary out. So that figure that they need to chip in.
So Souths didn't start it, then you're saying?
Well, it's interesting timing with Mamazelis getting injured.
Yeah. But he's out for 6 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks.
Brandon's not due back for 6 weeks.
6 weeks, but it's still because you look at their dummy half stocks, they got Saliva Havili playing there, and you know, he's been a good utility off the bench, but he's not going to play long minutes out of dummy half. So there's a definite gap there that they need to fill.
Souths need him. Like at the moment, Souths need him, and the Roosters apparently don't want him. But it's that $40,000 it just Souths won't pay.
How good is it?
How good is it? All right, Brandon Smith addressed the shock development on the Buy Round podcast earlier today.
Something has happened overnight. And my manager rang me this morning and sort of just told me everything I've read so far doesn't seem like I'm very wanted. Robert rang me just before, but on the way here. It was a good conversation, like it was nice. He's like, mate, we're just trying to save some money. But he was pretty surprised about how it's come about today. Yeah. It's going to be hard to go into training. And I still got to do that. We're meant to have the week off. I'm playing some reserve. I'm training with the reserve grade side this week, so it's not going to happen overnight. No one's answering their phone at the moment as well. So
I heard the Chooks in the last couple of days told you that you're going to play reserve grade for the rest of the year if you do come back as well.
I think they told my manager that, but I was just, I don't know. I guess I didn't know if they were real words or empty words.
Yeah.
Brandon Smith there looking understandably flat, you know, a little bit emotional, disappointed. You could see that in his mannerisms, the way that he spoke, and disappointed, really. He said that Robbo was surprised. Why would Robbo be surprised?
Yeah, I can't work out why
can't answer it, Braith.
Yeah, I can't work out why Trent Robinson would be surprised because there's no way the Roosters are getting rid of Brandon Smith before June 30 without Trent Robinson getting the okay, because the Roosters still believe they can play finals footy this year, and you know Brandon would help them with that. So yeah, look, you can see the disappointment, even in a sense of embarrassment, I guess, a little bit for Brandon, and that was tough to watch and listen to. So the messages there were a little bit mixed because of the emotion, I'd suggest.
Could it just be that Nick's the boss and he just made the decision?
It's a big call, Gordy, for you know Trent Robinson not to have Nick wields the power, right? No doubt about that. But I don't see him releasing someone before June 30 without Trent Robinson's okay. Like Dom Young. You know, Trent Robinson would have had to have been across the Dom Young situation.
The reserve grade scenario is interesting, and Brandon's confirmed there that he was told that he would be training with reserve grade this week. The last time the Roosters did this, I think it was Matt Lodge, and that was a player that they were clearly looking to immediately push out the door, and they wanted him having no further involvement with their NRL squad. So it feels as though there's a few pieces of this puzzle still missing, Braith. How it all shakes out. Look, I think Brandon will be at Souths well before June 30. And he obviously isn't going to play in the Roosters jersey again.
Just on the reserve grade side, I'm assuming the NRL players have some time off because of the bye, so maybe they've just asked him to do some extra training with the reserve grade side. But he'll be at Souths before June 30.
All right, now, Dom Young gone. Brandon Smith gone. Are we freeing some money up and some space to finalise DCE?
Of course
at
they
the
are.
Roosters.
Of course they are. Like, as much as the Roosters are pushing the party line that they want to upgrade emerging players, very good established players like Nafu White, Hugo Savala, the next wave of talent coming through. We've all seen how this unfolds previously and clearly. I think they didn't have enough money to be able to sign Daly straight out for next year available.
No Jared, no Kiri, Manu, Joey Swaliti. That's a fair bit of talent. Now Brandon Smith.
It is good.
Mate, that's a lot of money. A winger on 500. That's
With Reece Robson's the only one that they've really parachuted in there.
Yeah, but don't forget, they're still going to have to pay money towards Dominic Young going and towards Brandon Smith going. Right. And if you look at their roster, it's star-studded with internationals and also state of origin players. It still is. Like, it's still a damn good list. So I think at the moment they are clearing the decks.
Could there be more casualties at the Roosters?
Yeah, I think there will be. I heard today that Sandon Smith, who we obviously saw was man of the match in that standout Anzac Day performance. I've heard that his agent is also
Well, I said last night when we were talking about DCE, I said they probably couldn't cop or have 4 first-grade halfbacks, and I said if DCE does go there, they'll lose a half, and you're hearing whispers that he's being shopped around.
Well, I've heard that, his agent, other clubs have certainly been made aware of it because they raised it today. And look, he's a damn good emerging young player. Obviously, the Anzac Day was his breakout performance, but I'd be thinking if I'm another club. But again, it all just adds into the fact that all roads for Daly Cherry Evans. So that's what the Roosters are doing. They're clearing the decks so they will make a big play.
Of course. As a half, is that a good decision? A 37-year-old halfback next year, by the time he gets to the finals, taking a 20-year-old, like the future of the club.
This is a tricky one.
Because you've got 3 good guys. You've got 2 guys now that I think the Roosters have turned the corner. Like, they've been playing some pretty good footy.
Yeah, you know, I think DCE and Walker would be a great combination and can win a premiership, right? And the Roosters have made that call. Savala, to me, has impressed me a lot in his maturity, his kicking game, his defence, and he could partner Walker as soon as DCE leaves and be a really good combination. They've got Rodwell coming through. He won SG Ball Grand Final on the weekend. He got man of the match. Sandon Smith, and I said it before Anzac Day, he hadn't stood up in the absence of Walker. And then he come out and had his best performance in the NRL by a long way in that Anzac Day game. But was that enough to secure his security at the Roosters? And they probably mustn't think so. So he'll be the fall guy from this. Whether it's a good decision or not, we'll find out in 18 months, 24 months, right? You got to take risk in this game, and they're willing to do that and get a top liner, one of the best halfbacks in the game, and over the last 10 or 15 years to win a comp.